A four-stage plan could see England's coronavirus restrictions lifted entirely by the 21st of June. This plan was announced by the Prime Minister Boris Johnson in the House of Commons, while the Prime Minister said that his roadmap will cautiously but irreversibly ease the restrictions. Johnson maintained that the threat of COVID-19 remains substantial.
As more of us are inoculated, so the protection afforded by the vaccines will gradually replace the restrictions. And today's roadmap sets out the principles of that transition. The level of infection is broadly similar across England, so we will ease restrictions in all areas at the same time. The sequence will be driven by the evidence, so outdoor activity will be prioritised as the best way to restore freedoms while minimising the risk. At every stage, our decisions will be led by data, not dates, and subjected to four tests. First, that the vaccine deployment programme continues successfully. Second, that evidence shows vaccines are sufficiently effective in reducing hospitalisations and deaths. Third, that infection rates do not risk a surge in hospitalisations which would put unsustainable pressure on the NHS. And fourth, that our assessment of the risks is not fundamentally changed by new variants of COVID that cause concern.
There will be at least 5 weeks between each of the four steps. The first phase will start from the 8th of March. In the first phase, all schools will open across England. People will be allowed to socialise in parks and public spaces with another person. There will be no curfew under step 2 of relaxing the restrictions. From the 29th of March, groups of up to 6 people will be allowed to gather. The stay-at-home rule will also be removed from this date. Outdoor sports will be allowed to resume from the 29th of March. From the 12th of April, non-essential retail, hairdressers and nail salons will reopen. Outdoor hospitality will resume, as well as zoos and theme parks. Step number 3 would start on the 17th of May. With most social contact rules lifted, the international travel ban currently in place will be reviewed later, hopefully by May. Step 4, starting from the 21st of June, hopes to see an end to all restrictions in England. And joining us on the broadcast this minute is our London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark. Mandy, the Prime Minister very categorically has said that even though the restrictions are being relaxed, the risk still remains substantial. There is likelihood of some criticism coming his way for this move as well.
Yes, it's a remarkable the change in a year, what the Prime Minister's tone and attitude towards COVID-19. Remember, just a year ago, he said, I was shaking hands, and now he takes it far more seriously. This is a cautious approach. He says it will be, and this is really his slogan, it's going to be driven by the data, not the dates. These dates are hoping to hold, but of course they may slide and change if all of a sudden there's rise in infection rates or hospitalization. So a very different Prime Minister from a year ago, but making it very clear that this is the way he sees the path forward. The vaccination rollout has been successful. It's lowered those hospital admission rates enough that he can confidently open those schools. And then, of course, there's those laps in time to make sure at each stage those infection rates aren't raising. But if it goes to plan, then by the end of June 21st, the UK would be more or less back to normal.
As far as mixing of crowds is concerned, if you can elaborate for our viewers, the restrictions that will now allow mixing even in parks and public spaces.
For many people, this is far too cautious. He's now, if you're going to visit a care home, you have to take a COVID test, and you will be allowed to hold the hand of a loved one, and there's only one person named. If you're going to go to parks, you can meet another household. Of course, it has to be an outdoor space. And the rule of 6 where you can mix is almost much later on the line. So really, this is your chance to meet another household in an outdoor space for more of a leisure activity, not just exercise. That was the rule. Just exercise. Now you can possibly have a picnic with another household. But really, it's still a very cautious approach. Those outdoor sports won't resume until another month from now. So it's slowly, but he wants to make sure that this is the very last lockdown. So there won't be gatherings and parties just yet. It's only another month that other households can mix outside.
Mandy Clark, thanks very much for those updates for now.